Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to today's live. Today, I'm going to focus on just a couple of things. One, I'm going to give you some predictions, basically five business predictions that might make your head explode, but in a good way, because my role or my goal always is to give you information so that you're more informed. So that's one thing I want to do today. And two, I want to also share that I'm going to finally pull the trigger on a podcast. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But I want your help if I can beg, borrow, and bribe you on naming it, because I just have a vision for it right now. I don't really know what we're going to call it, but we're getting started messy, and we're going to do it on the, build our wings on the way down. So one quick thing, as you guys are coming in, just give me a shout out. Where in the world are you? I see Edward. Oh my gosh, I am so glad to see you. It's been a minute since I've been live. And so Rhonda and I were talking about it before we got started, and we're like, it's been a minute. Do we remember how to do this? So bear with us if we screw something up, but excited to see you guys. It's very good to be back in the saddle, so to speak. So let's just go ahead. Like I say, as you're joining, tell me where you are. Obviously some maybe morning, so I'm going to say good morning. If it's good afternoon, and evening for some. So anyway, we're going to just jump right in. I'm going to pull up my screen, and I say I'm going to pull up my screen. Let me see where my screen is here. I've got too many screens open. That is always my problem. Is that a problem for anybody but me? Like, I always have so many screens open, and then when I need them, they're not exactly where I want them to be. But here we go. I think I got it now. All right. So, like I said, hopefully I don't blow people's minds, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to share things today with you that you may not be aware of, or that you might not even understand how it matters in your business. So stay with me, especially until like 4 and 5. My fourth and fifth tip, I think most people are going to be shocked about what I have to say. And, more importantly, why it matters to you and potentially your business, and maybe even your family. There's implications across the board for this. So, let's get started. I'm going to just move on. Like I said, I am finally starting a podcast. I have wanted to start a podcast and have had live shows of various and sundry over the years, but I never really pulled the trigger on that podcast. So finally going to do it. My vision for this is doing it like a video podcast that is really going to be more futuristic in nature. So really focusing on the cutting edge marketing technologies. And it's not that I don't want to serve all people, but I'm really passionate about empowering more women to enter and benefit from high-tech knowledge. I feel like all the years that I've been doing this, 33 years, I've encountered so many women who are just, it's not that they're not smart enough to handle tech. That's not it. I think it's a mystery to them. So my goal is to demystify, complex topics like AI, blockchain, fintech, impact entrepreneurship, things that I think would benefit all. But really, I hate to say dumbing it down, but really just making it, presenting it in such a way that you understand how it matters to you. I think if I have any kind of superpower in the world, that is one of my zones of genius, is that I do dig into something that I think is complex and I struggle with, and then I figure out how to explain it in such a way that people get it. So one of my core focuses will be encouraging and educating whether they're women or, like I say, I am passionate about bringing more women into this, high tech or high touch point tech related knowledge bases, and, help people capitalize on the exciting opportunities that I don't think are common knowledge really for most business owners today. So we're going to focus on, bringing in inspiring leaders. I'm going to do a lot of impact types of content, discussing how we can get involved in things like that, how we can benefit from things like that, discuss strategies and tips for overcoming barriers, and ultimately just providing great advice on how you can take advantage of the future of marketing. So we're going to have a combination style kind of podcast where I'll share some stuff sometimes, and then we'll bring in great speakers as well. But that's kind of, the vision for the podcast. So now that I have told you what my vision is for it, can I ask a favor? So drop in what you think would be a good name for the podcast. I've been tossing around so many ideas, and I feel like I have such a swath of knowledge that I'm like, how can I encompass it in something that, is showcases that, but also is attractive to people that maybe don't know everything. But they want to learn. So if you have, yes, this is the first episode of the podcast, Edward. So you are a part of history today. I did want to share my vision, and I really would love your all's feedback for the podcast name. So drop in any, and if you want to think about it, you can always just let me know later. But I really do want your feedback on what you think would make a really great podcast topic. Okay. All right. So let's get back to it. So that was the biggie. And like I said, let me pull up this, get moving. All right, there we go. So name suggestions, drop them in. I would love that. So today, okay. Oh, this is good. Y'all look. So this is ridiculous. I know, but this isn't, which way? This way? This way. This is an AI generated image. Does it look like me without the glasses? Pretty much, right? So, but that's the things, those are the types of things like that I want to share. Those are the things that I want people to be able to do for themselves. So I'm going to focus in on, like I said, my predictions for the future of marketing. But I want to ask a question real quick. What year did you get online? So dating myself a lot. I got online in 1991. I might as well just own it, right? 1991 was when I got into the internet space. And it was just getting commercial at that point in time. Most people will say that the internet really didn't start until 1994. I was there, so it definitely got started a little earlier than that. There was a lot of pushback in the early days, but pushback between the educators and the commercial people who saw the opportunity. So my very first computer was on the screen there. So that also, showcases how long ago it was. But the point is that things have shifted so dramatically. And I think there's periods of the internet that I just want to talk about real quick, because I think this sets the stage for understanding that there has been I've seen it all. And I've also been fortunate enough to kind of see the next wave. And we are in the early stages of the next wave. And I feel like so many people are not seeing it yet. They're not understanding that what has traditionally worked for us, or maybe you are understanding it, you're seeing it because your sales are down, or things that you used to do just aren't working as well. But I feel like there is such a need for people to understand that we are evolving here. So Web 1.0 was information economy, which was when I got started. Basically, it was, a lot information access where people started putting their websites up, as portals like AOL and B2B directories, which is, how I started getting my first clients. My first client came from an AOL B2B room. That's how far back I go. But the user was responsible for all the navigation. There was some shopping carts, but it was basically static, essentially. And it was a few people produced content, and it was consumed by many, right? And then think about it though, like even today, when was the last time you went to the library to get information? Now, I'm not saying, did you go to the library to get a book? I'm asking, when did you pick up the Britannica? That's the way I used to have to write my papers in high school, right? You'd pull out those, probably old, they were outdated, but that's the best we had at our fingertips, right? And now, look at where we are. It's just fascinating to see how much information is now at our fingertips. We literally have every piece of information, especially with the advent of AI, at our fingertips. So 1.0 was for viewing and linking. Let's just kind of sum it up, right? And then Web 2.0 was the evolution of social media. I will call it a platform economy. So Facebook came about, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and that was, there's still some application, honestly, of Web 2.0 across the board today. Platform economy is like user-generated content platforms. That blogs became a thing. Search engines had to become smarter. Many users were producing content and consuming content. So it was a kind of a two-way street, and it gave us a voice. It gave us the ability to step in and, I would say, be even competitive in big business space. So like, there would have never been a reality where I could have become an influencer before the advent of social media. Right. So the point is that there's been all kinds of like people that have been able to, take advantage of the social networks and leverage them in some ways that made them competitive, and the ability for them to create businesses that could be supported off of the back of this. But I think that's shifting. Okay. I think things that used to work in social media don't work as well anymore. Anybody want to raise their hand on that? Anybody want to say, I used to blah, blah, blah. In fact, tell me what used to work for you that no longer works today. I would love to know. Because I think it goes back to, the one thing that we can always count on in business and in marketing in particular is change. Change is a constant, and it's probably the number one most frustrating thing, honestly, right? It's frustrating because you think you just nailed it, you just learned it, and it's gone. It's like, so I'll just give you a couple of examples. In the early days of my business, I made like millions of dollars off of banner ads. Like if I had kept that business model, and was trying to sell banner ads today, like, would that work? No, we evolved out of that, and we've got banner blindness now. So it's just like, in the early days of Facebook ads, they were like huge and people made a lot of money. Now they're harder and harder for us to do that. Blogging is exact. Stella says blogging. That is so true. In the early days of blogging, it was easier. And Stella, hang in there, because there's also, I'm going to talk about the impact of where we are going with blogging. Okay. So, because again, this is shifting and we can continue to blog. There's nothing wrong with continuing to blog. You just have to evolve the strategy. So knowing what's coming for us and being ahead of it is, where we are and what we have to do in order to stay competitive, and knowing that staying competitive and, more importantly, staying ahead of our competition. I think that's a critical thing. Otherwise, you die on the vine. I mean, your business model always has to evolve. So again, 2.0 is all about participation, and the user has a lot of control. Now, enter Web 3.0, and I think there is like I said, there's still a lot of application for Web 2.0. I think people are still, there's Web 3.0 is here. It's not like it's not here, but I think there's still a lot of application for Web 3.0 that a lot of business owners have not really embraced very robustly. And that's one of the reasons that I really want to step forward and start educating people on the evolution. And, really, because I think Web 3.0 is definitely more tech focused, and it's going to get harder, y'all. I'm just going to just say that marketing is going to get harder instead of easier. And you may groan when when you hear me say that, you're like, dang it, I don't need harder in my life. So that goes back to, how can you embrace it? How can you get smart on it? How can you pick and choose what you need to do versus what you don't need to do and what you can let go of? Or how can you leverage the new tech? This is the key. How can you leverage the new tech to create income opportunities or save time and money based off of new tech? So let's talk about that a little bit. All right. So I'm going to sum this up real quick because I think this is kind of if I had to put these in some categories. Obviously, Web 1.0 was information. That's democratized information for all. Web 2 was content, essentially. It was the platform era. And then I think Web 3.0 is the ownership economy. And when I say ownership, I think when I get ready, when I break down some of my predictions, I think it'll make a little bit more sense to you. So let's get in. So obviously, anybody heard about this thing called AI? Like, obviously everybody's heard about AI, right? It's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. I mean, we used to use fill in the blank tool and, it was just this whatever tool, right? Now, almost every tool has implemented some AI functionality. Zoom has it, Slack has it, fill in the blank. All video tools are leveraging some form of AI. It is everywhere. And for most of us, I think the productivity piece of it has leveled the playing ground. If you're a solopreneur, it's made the ability to do things that you previously couldn't do very well more doable. It's been, we can write sales page copy. We can write blog posts that take us, a couple of hours versus, a week. The things that it allows us to do faster and potentially even better, assuming that you have some frameworks for your AI. It gives us that ability. Are you guys using AI today? Like, raise your hand and tell me how you're using it. I would love to know. Because I think these shifts that are happening, AI is growing at a phenomenal rate. I would say one of my predictions is another technology that's growing faster. But all of my predictions, interestingly enough, can be AI is rolled into them in some capacity. So AI is a genie that is out of the box. It is not going back in the box. So how do we smartly use it? And what is coming for us? So what are the shifts that AI is going to produce for us that we need to be more aware of? So interestingly enough, this is fascinating to me. It's estimated that AI will drive 95% of all customer interactions by 2025. What? 2025? That's like just right around the corner, y'all. Like, it's just a few months away. So that's a fascinating very fascinating, and I don't know if you call it scary. I think that AI, if taught correctly, and I think this is where most people are breaking down when using AI, is that they're not training their bot or whatever's engaging with their customer. They're not training it very well. So, we've been doing customized chatbots for clients, and, we have an evolutionary, that's what we call it, an evolutionary training process that most business owners don't know how to do that. So I think the connection, but this is where I think it's more it's fascinating that this is going to be the evolution of where we're going with AI. is that AI is going to get smarter and smarter, and the evolution of it is going to get smarter. So it is going to become an empathy-based, emotion-based tool for us. And I think that is the differentiator today. Most bots today, now I think in probably 6 months, this will not be the case. We're teaching our bots empathy, but I think the bots will have functionality in the near future that's going to be able to read emotions, customer-based emotions based on the way they say things, or potentially even facial recognition. So this is going to be a fascinating evolution. I think it's going to move super fast. And I think it has application for literally all of us, is the ability to leverage, I'll call it conversational AI, for support of our customers, but also for conversational selling. We're actually using AI for conversational selling in some cases. So if you had a bot that understood empathy and could engage with your customers, at least on the front side, imagine the time savings and the difference, the ability to scale could be huge, right? So just planting the seed there. This is another prediction that I think I haven't decided if I think this is scary, kind of a little bit, but I want to position it in the light of the fact that they're making decisions based on the ability to process a lot of information through the use of AI. So AI-powered decision making by 2026, 50% of Fortune 500 companies is going to use AI for major strategic decisions. And like I say, I think they're going to do that based on the fact that now they can amass a lot of information, and they'll be able to use that data to make more informed decisions. That's pretty cool, right? So again, that's just a prediction, but it's a pretty startling one. I think the scary part for most people when it comes to AI is that, it'll take the human factor out of things. So, what does this look like? Again, how does this impact business owners and their decisions? But I think this is the direction that we're all headed. And when I say Fortune 500 companies are there, y'all, it doesn't matter what size business you have. If you start to leverage the power of AI, it does give you better information that you may not have thought of, or information that you wouldn't have had a touch point on before. I'll give you an example. One of the things we teach is how to leverage AI to do, research on, customer, whether you call it customer research. In some cases it's customer research, but it's more about market research. I think in the past we've not had a lot of ability to do market research, and so leveraging it for stuff like that, for example, it gives you so much more data and so much more touch points on your market and your avatar. So that's just, again, one quick example. But I think the big shift that we're going to see is it's not so much about productivity and just using it for productivity. I think we're going to see a lot of automations happening in the near future. So an AI agent is like a digital assistant, but they can work independently, meaning they can perform tasks on their own without needing our oversight. Now, that's kind of scary if you think about it, right? Because if you train it correctly, you can have it process data and take the next step and let it make basic decisions on its own. Now, obviously, as these evolve, they're going to get more complex and they will take over potentially roles within businesses for sure. There's not a whole lot of people talking about AI agents yet, but they're not only are they here, they are a little more complex to set up because they take time to think through the process. What do you want them to do? What has to happen? It's an if this, then that kind of scenario, right? But AI agents are absolutely, I think, the next one of the next evolutions in the AI ecosystem in the marketing space, in particular. Okay, so my next prediction, and this is probably not going to shock you, but I may tell you some things that may shock you. I just noticed that my orange is in alignment with this image here. But a video is taking over the internet. Now, most of you probably are fully aware of that, but how many of you are leveraging it? There's still so many people who are not using video in their businesses. Like, tell me, are you using video? Like, raise your hand. And in all honesty, I've kind of slacked off on video too. So I understand, but it is the number one most impactful type of content you can create today. So you could do a video blog, you could do a video podcast. Hint, hint, hint. There's the concept of the video piece of content is absolutely the future going forward. So video content is expected to dominate internet traffic. It has been dominating internet traffic for a bit, but accounting for 82% of all consumer internet traffic by 2025. So 82% of buyers are paying attention to video content. Are we there? That's big, right? The average internet user is projected to spend almost 100 minutes per day watching online videos. They're already doing this. This is huge. Like, think about that. Like, that's a day. That's more than an hour a day that people are tuning into video content. And most of it, interestingly enough, is bite-sized content. It is small nibbles of content, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. So YouTube is expected to maintain its dominance with a projected 2.85 billion monthly active users by 2025. So are you on YouTube? Right? I haven't stepped into YouTube either. So I do have content on YouTube, but I'm not consistent. So pot kettle, when I say you should be there, but it is an absolute gem when it comes to what I'm going to call evergreen content. It's, a lot of content that you put out in the world is lost in the sea initially. And if it's not picked up in the short term, people finding it later, it's just almost, it just almost doesn't happen. But on YouTube, it's a search engine. And you also have the Google machine because they are owned. Google owns YouTube, and they funnel search results into the Google machine too. So the ability to be found on Google as well as YouTube is huge. So if you haven't really embraced YouTube yet, yeah, it's an opportunity waiting on you. Okay. TikTok. Interesting. This is huge. Like, I have not published one piece of content on TikTok. I do consume content on TikTok. In fact, I'll admit it. I had to actually delete the app because I was spending too much time on TikTok. But it is super popular, and 5.19 billion minutes per day of content is consumed or will be consumed in 2025, surpassing Facebook and even Instagram. So huge opportunity. So again, YouTube, TikTok. A lot of focus on TikTok, obviously, for even emerging or new creators. So if you're not on TikTok, it's not too late. You just got to get started. Okay. So let's talk about trends though, because you probably know that video is impactful. You should be doing it, whether you're on YouTube or whether you're creating short form content or you're even on TikTok. You probably know that you should be doing it, whether you are or not. So emerging trends in the space, interactive and shoppable video. So I did a live stream probably about a year ago with my friend Jim Fuse, who has a live show on Instagram. I'm sorry, a live show on Amazon. And he talked about how huge this opportunity was. Now, Amazon's all right. All right. Can you still hear me even if you can't see me? Uh, Dang it. All right. Well, Facebook can hear. I don't know what happened to my video. Maybe it'll pop back up in a minute. The one thing that you can always rely on when you are live is there we are. Okay, I'm back. So one thing you can almost always rely on when it comes to live video is tech issues of some sort. I never seem to get through a live without something happening. But anyway, going back to my Jim Fuse story, he talked about how rich the opportunity is over on Amazon, and the ability to create massive amounts of affiliate revenue, essentially, by simply creating content on as an influencer on Amazon. But there are a lot of platforms now that allow you to create sales just by simply going live on social media. So the interactive and shoppable video functionality is huge. So if you have physical products, or if you even the Amazon thing, assuming you don't even have physical products, I know I have friends who have, they don't have their own physical products and services, but they are an influencer over on Amazon, and they've created six-figure businesses simply by recommending and doing reviews of products on the Amazon machine. So anybody can do that. But if you do have physical products, like you're an e-com store, leveraging the power of shoppable video is going to be a huge and emerging. It's not like it's new, but it's definitely taking things by storm. So definitely an opportunity to capitalize on that. And then we get to the next thing up is, I was really surprised at this. How many of you were surprised that live streaming is still a big thing? I've been in the live streaming space for probably since pretty much the beginning of live streaming. I have a lot of Periscope stories from back in the day. And as it evolved, and like platforms like Facebook started curtailing the reach for live content, a lot of people kind of step back from live video. I personally love live video because I feel like I'm not just talking to myself. I can see you guys, and I love the feedback and the energy that you give when you comment, and feel like I'm engaging in real time versus me just creating a video that I put on YouTube. So I personally love live video, and but I know that I've stepped back from it a little bit because I just wasn't getting the same return on it. But this is fascinating to me that it is expected to increase 23% from 24 to 2030 to 2030. So how about you guys? Are you interested in the potential of live streaming going forward? I'm just curious if you you have that interest, or if you're still live streaming. Let me know, because I would love to know what everybody's thoughts are on that. And then augmented reality, it's interesting to me that I think augmented reality and virtual reality has taken some industries or niches by storm, and then others have been slow to adopt it. So I'm just curious, are you using, augmented reality or virtual reality in any capacity in your business? I would love to know. My friend Mitch Jackson is using, the metaverse essentially. He's an attorney in California. He's built basically a client portal there, so he can have his meetings with his clients in virtual reality. And so I think that's just fascinating how certain businesses and certain niches have, adapted to this technology. I haven't done that, but I feel like there's so much opportunity for like coaches, for example. I know a lot of you, some of you, not a lot of you maybe, but some of you are business coaches or health and fitness coaches, and having the ability to meet and engage with people and create a learning environment in a virtual setting, I think could be absolutely incredible for you. So I'm curious just to know how everybody thinks or what they think about that as it relates to their business. But let's talk about video content strategies right now. I've given you some emerging trends, but how do you capitalize on it? So a couple of things. Short form content like reels, stories are absolutely huge. So if you are not using short form content, I encourage you to do so. I'll give you a quick story from one of our clients. We have a strategy that we call content to profit, and it is based all on short form content. So this particular client had really struggled with consistency. She couldn't get her content out there consistently. Anybody else? Like, that's a core problem. So one of her problems, like I said, was consistency, and then sharing the types of content that she thought her audience would relate to. So the content to profit strategy is really about what I call problem-centric content. So creating content that, really helps her audience with a problem that they have, hooking them with that problem, and then, sharing a solution to the problem. And this is the key, though. This is the strategy: moving that person from social media to a place she owns. So this has been the result of her consistently being able to create content. So we send her, 5 to 7 scripts every Monday. It takes her about 20 minutes to create that content. We take it from there, and she has grown her audience by 100% because she really didn't have an audience. But this is the fascinating part. She has been able to increase her sales by 32%. So it is absolutely the most impactful content that you can create, simply because that's the type of content most people are sitting on their couches looking at of the evening hours, or at lunch, or of the morning while they're having breakfast, or fill in the blank of when they're consuming the short form content. So highly recommend that you leverage short form content. We've seen such mass adoption for short form content with our clients. And I'm also going to go back and harp a little bit on YouTube. Again, pot kettle here when I tell you this, because I don't have a consistent long form content strategy either. Although my goal with this video podcast is to start sharing, obviously, my podcast over on YouTube. But long form videos are super effective because they can be found, and they are also great at conversion. So, getting people to a sale, leveraging the power of a longer form piece of content. So definitely incorporate long form videos in your content strategy. And the third thing I want to bring up is voice search. So voice search comes in a variety of different forms. Most of the time people think of it through the, Alexa, hey, Alexa, or whatever. But y'all, AI is absolutely going to change the game when it comes to voice search, simply because AI now has all this functionality. You can go to ChatGPT and you can use voice search, right? Which is bypassing what? It's bypassing the search engines, or it is surfacing only the top things that it finds, which is going to create a massive issue for us. Whether it's AI as a voice search feature, or it is Alexa, which a lot of people absolutely are using it to search for content. In fact, by 2026, 91.4 million American consumers will use voice-enabled functions of smart speakers to ask search-related questions. Dang, right? So it does give us a lot of SEO red flags. How many of you guys are blogging? I've stepped back from my blog a little bit, but I still get a lot of traffic to my blog content, and I would like that to continue. But I've seen it decrease year over year. That has definitely happened. And one of the problems with voice search is that that's going to happen to us simply because we probably don't know what to do to combat it, right? So here's a few suggestions for you. Start using conversational keywords. How do people search? Think about it. How do you search? Like one of the best ways that I search I feel is most effective for me is I do a lot of how-tos, right? So focus on question-based queries like how to fill in the blank on your expertise. Um, and then how to get to that zero position, because the search queries are pulling almost 100% of the time from that zero position. And the zero position, if you're not aware of it, is literally that top spot. Even before you get to the number one position, essentially on the Google machine. So, being smart about how you write your content and making sure that you incorporate conversational keywords, use terms like how to, things like that is going to bump you up into the ecosystem. Now, this is very basic SEO advice. But again, these are things that are going to help you combat the voice search concern, the red flags that we have in the with this up and coming technology, and it definitely is going to impact SEO. So, I think this is a fascinating evolution, and I'm really going to spend most of my time talking about this because I think this is something that most business owners don't understand where this is going and how it's going to impact them. And the reality is, for some, it may take a little bit of touch point, and it may not be your business specifically, but it may be a business that you do business with that you have the opportunity to create a value proposition from. But privacy first marketing is a concern. 92% of consumers express concerns over their data privacy. I hesitate to say that I laugh and say there is no privacy anymore because it's not a laughing matter. It absolutely is a core problem, and a lot of us are concerned about it. It's hard for us to rein it back in because the platforms have leveraged us for years and have harvested our data. So if you are currently using any tool, like any social platform, and you have a free account, if you're using Google to search, if you have a Zoom account, fill in the blank. If you have a free account, you are the product. Why are you the product? Because they're using your data and potentially leveraging that from a marketing perspective so that they can put offers in front of you, or they're selling it and maybe a combination therein. So it's just a fascinating thing. I mean, even, our phones. My husband sent me an image this morning. We talked I had to take him to the airport. And on the way to the airport, we talked about, we were going to go see my son. He was going to go see my son in Tampa. So he was on his way to Florida. And we were talked about visiting my other son in Denver. And he got on the plane, and he opened up his app to get his flight details, his boarding pass. And inside of the, I don't know, United or American or whatever airline, he had offers for cheaper fares to where? Denver and Tampa. So they're listening to us, y'all. I mean, there's no coincidence when it comes to us getting offers that we've just talked about, an hour before. It is a huge, huge problem. So big tech is having a feast, and we're the main dish. Yeah, you can quote me on that, okay? But the solution to this is blockchain. Now I predict that you're going to hear more and more about blockchain for enhanced transparency and security going forward. And I'm going to make a big, big claim. I think that in the next, I would say 7 to 10 years, some will say sooner, but I think literally before the next big wave when it comes to when it comes to marketing and specifically privacy concerns is the blockchain. And I think going forward that, like I said, within the next 10 years, I think most businesses of any size will be on the blockchain. Wow. That's a big claim, right? So what does that mean? Like, most of us until 8 months ago, I'd heard the term blockchain, but I didn't know what it meant really. So let me explain it real quick, just to kind of, think forward. If we owned our own data and could choose who to share it with and ultimately be rewarded for doing so, wouldn't that be kind of cool? So here's some of the big and upcoming trends that Business Insider identified, two of which we've talked about today, AI and blockchain. Now, the interesting part is these are both in the market or have marketing application. I wouldn't necessarily say energy storage is, something, but I really wanted to key in on the AI. Obviously, we've talked about that, and the blockchain. And I think AI and blockchain are intricately tied together. And I would even say, if we go back to video, you could use AI to create better quality videos faster, right? So literally AI can touch on all the things that I just talked about. But what is a blockchain? Because I didn't even know what it was. I heard the term, didn't know what it meant. And a blockchain is simply a digital ledger or a chronological list of events. It's called a blockchain. It can track anything from financial transactions, which is what most of us know it for, crypto, to medical records. It can literally track anything of value. So, when I say medical records, those are valuable to us, right? It would be nice if we had a key to our medical records and we could walk into a doctor's office and release that key. And when we walked out of that doctor's office, we could revoke that key. Well, one, I can't even get my medical records. I don't know about y'all, but like I have to pay to get them. I don't know where they are. I mean, it's a nightmare to try to get access to our own personal information. So imagine if we could have our data, our medical records, in a place where we could own it and control it, who got access to it, and revoke the right to that access if we so chose to do so. That could all be done through the blockchain technology. Fascinating, right? So it is designed to be unhackable, which is where the privacy piece comes into play. A master copy of the blockchain doesn't exist on a centralized computer. So like AT&T was recently hacked, right? It's because all their data is essentially in one place. So when you hear of a company getting hacked, it's because the information is easy for somebody to, once they get behind the door, once they pick the lock, everything's in one central location. But on a blockchain, it is on it's in multiple places all over the web, because it does exist within the web infrastructure. Nothing can change on the blockchain unless the majority agree that a change is valid. So they call it, unhackable, but it's very secure. And I think that's where we are headed. But this is where I really want to start maybe making your head explode. The blockchain and the application for blockchain as it relates to us as business owners is, okay, I said it's all businesses, a lot of businesses are going to be on the blockchain in, 10 years. But why does it matter? And how are we going to benefit from it? So there's a thing called tokenization. And again, these were terms that I'd heard of. In fact, I've had a couple of people on my live show before. They've talked about tokenization and that it's absolutely the future of, business. But I didn't really grasp the impact of it and how it connected, and more importantly, how it's going to connect to us as marketers moving forward. So, the tokenization of real world assets, including things like loyalty points. How many of you guys have a credit card that you get points on? How many have a airline that you favorite because you get airline miles? Tokenization is essentially the same concept, where you're getting rewarded for doing business for or with a specific business that exists on the blockchain. So that's one piece of it. So you can get rewarded for and I think that's the future, honestly. So I think we're going to get to a place where all businesses are going to incentivize their customers by giving them tokens. The tokens can be used to, just like airline miles, they can book airline or airfare with it, or they can get, Christmas. I save up mine until Christmas, and then I get, things in the marketplace. Same concept exactly, except that it is run through a series of nodes, essentially, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So if this is a foreign concept to you, I'm trying to tie it down to things we know, like the airline miles, and potentially credit card miles, credit card points. Those are things that we have traditionally been used to, and again, I think that's where all businesses are going. I think business owners are more savvy today, and they would like to be rewarded for doing business with certain types, doing business with the businesses that they spend their money with. Do you agree with that? Like if you had let's just use a Zoom comparison. If you had a Zoom like meeting app that would reward you for doing your meetings, that would be preferable to just be in the product by using a free Zoom account, right? So that's the point, is being rewarded for taking action on things you're already doing. That's my point, is tokenization is that. But there's two ways to benefit from this. And this is why I think this is so impactful for us as business owners. One, we all use tools. We all use different things. We all spend money at a variety of different businesses. And for the most of the time, we cannot have any ownership. I don't know about you, but unless I bought stock at Amazon or NVIDIA or fill in the blank, I cannot own any of that company. The interesting part of when a company goes on the blockchain, they become decentralized, which means that they no longer technically own the company. What? So they become decentralized. Who owns the company? Well, they become a project, one, and the node owners of that project are who owns the company project. So that's my point. You can now participate in ownership for companies that go on the blockchain, which I think is a fascinating opportunity. So as this starts to evolve and you start to get more knowledgeable about this, you're going to see this more and more. So remember, you heard it here first, but you can actually participate in ownership of blockchain companies, depending on the blockchain and how it's organized and how it's set up. So a blockchain node, what is it? Like, I have never heard that term, right? Many of you may have never heard of it. Until 8 months ago, I had never heard this term in my life. I'd heard about blockchain, I'd heard about tokenization, but I didn't know what a node was. A blockchain node is software that operates for a blockchain purpose. In other words, it's the infrastructure that operates that particular project on the blockchain, but it can be owned by individuals like you and me. So this is the best way I can think to describe it. When you own a node, you own the chicken. And the chicken is laying eggs, and the node is mining crypto or tokens on the daily. So you can just participate in the project or the company that is giving you rewards, and you can get the quote unquote crypto, or you can buy the chicken, which is the node. And then obviously on the daily, you're getting more crypto because it's mining, because every time a transaction moves through the node that you own, whether somebody is, purchasing a product or service through that project company, your node is transacting that and you get rewarded for that. This has never been in my frame of reference before. So I was like, wow, that's cool. Like, right? So I think this is a fascinating opportunity for all of us, and being aware that tokens are coming our way, just like airline miles did, but being ahead of the opportunity to say, hey, I want to own a node so that I can get chickens every day. I'm sorry, that I can get eggs every day. So this has never been an opportunity, at least in my ecosystem, to understand that this is not only happening, but most of us don't know about it. So I'm on a mission to say, hey, it doesn't have to just be nerds that know this and get to take advantage of making money off of quote unquote crypto. We can also participate and be involved in this as well. So how many of you have ever heard of a node or understood how you could benefit from it? How many of you have even owned crypto? So let me explain it just a little bit more. Blockchain projects reward node owners with digital rewards for running their nodes on the blockchain. So in other words, those digital rewards are crypto because it's mined every day based on that blockchain's crypto value. You can use those tokens to, buy products and services from the brand if you want to, or you can cash them in for USD. So it's a fascinating space, and I just think it's super cool. So quick question. How many of you are like shocked at some of the predictions I gave today? Some of them I think are just make sense because you've seen, like the video, for example, is absolutely something that you get because we've been doing it for a minute. But I think the blockchain, the privacy, the tokenization, I absolutely think that's going to be new to most people because it was new to me as well. So hopefully I did a good job of explaining that. And for anyone that is potentially interested in learning more, because I did a, let me get my screen pulled up here. The other day I did a virtual event and I talked about this on that virtual event. And I basically said, I felt like blockchain is the next evolution for business, and that all businesses, essentially the same thing I told you, that I think all businesses will be on the blockchain, or the majority of them, in 10 years or so. And one of the, it generated a lot of interest. So I'm speculating that you probably are the same. You're like, dang, I'd like to know more about this because I've never heard of this before. If that's you, and I could gift you a free crypto wallet and some free crypto, would you be interested? And the reason that I'm doing this is, one, I was uneducated in this space until about 8 months ago. I'm trying to get to a place where people that are not as nerdy, not as tech savvy, they don't have to understand it all to take advantage of it, because I feel like most people that have had the opportunity to take advantage of this up until this point are in the know. So I'm trying to change that so you're in the know and you can take advantage of it. So if you'd like to have a free crypto wallet, it's free, doesn't cost you anything, and I'm going to give you some free crypto. Now, let me give you a quick story. I'm not promising this, but I'm going to tell, because I have no idea what the future holds. But one of my mentors talked about how he used to give $100 worth of Bitcoin to people he was trying to educate in the crypto space. When Bitcoin was $200 a coin. So today, that $100 worth of crypto, Bitcoin, I keep saying crypto, that $200 worth of Bitcoin is worth roughly $30,000 because Bitcoin, a coin today is selling for, almost $60,000, right at, last I checked, 59K. It fluctuates right now. So, my hope is that I can give you some crypto that it's not Bitcoin, but it is crypto. It does have value. If I could give you some crypto so you could start to get educated on it, and potentially it could increase in value to something that would give you a real world value, would you be interested, right? That could be pretty cool, pretty huge. So if you're interested, I'm going to do another little update, if you will. I'm going to be giving away free wallets and some free crypto to anybody who wants to join me today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And all you have to do is join me over at r-link.com/Kim. So write that down. I know Rhonda will probably drop it in into the comments as well. But if you'd like some free crypto and a free wallet, start learning about this space, because trust me, it is here. It is going to be a big deal. Then I would love for you to join me this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I can give you something juicy. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to my business predictions. And I'm going to just be on the lookout. The podcast is coming. We're probably going to do Mondays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just to kind of give you planting the seed. This week we had to do Tuesday for conflict, so we had some conflicts. But look for us next Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and help us kick this podcast off with a bang. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe, and God bless.